Ah, Japan, the mecca for weebs everywhere. Years ago, back in 2016, I was lucky enough to get to live in Japan for a little over a year in the quiet coastal hot springs town of Beppu. The time I spent in Japan was some of the best memories and just time of my life, and Japan and Beppu quickly became like a second home to me. It's been almost 8 years since then, and basically every single minute since then, I've been dreaming of going back, and today I think is finally the day. Who am I kidding? I can't afford to go back to Japan, man, in this economy. And not to mention the fact that I have to care for all of my beautiful sons and daughters. Luckily though, I figured out a way that I can visit my home in Japan and share some of my memories and stories with you guys without even leaving my office. Google Earth, the baby! Yes, that's right. I have no idea how I didn't think of doing something like this sooner. Most of the time when I'm feeling nostalgic about Japan, I just watch a Sea Dog VA video and a Abroad in Japan video, or I just go look at some of my old photos of me and my friends in Japan and cry to myself in the corner. So I actually lived on the southernmost island of Japan, on the island of Kyushu in the prefecture of Oita. It's just southwest here in the bay from the city of Fukuoka, probably the biggest city in the island of Kyushu, famous for its ramen. The small city that I lived in was the coastal city of Beppu, that is down here in Beppu Bay, as we'll see just north of Oita here, right on the coast. The city is like a well-known kind of famous hot spring village. The city is built on the side of a mountain. It's pretty crazy, and the mountain that it's built on is super volcanic, so this city has a ton of natural hot springs that you can look at, and there's crazy colors, as well as a million out there that you can take public baths in. There's so many different onsen, hot spring places within Japan, but in my personal opinion, Beppu definitely ranks like easily in the top 3, top 2. Oh, and for those of you who may be confused as to why I appear to be cosplaying like an emo kid from the mid-2000s, it's because my skin broke out. So as I said, Beppu is located here within this bay, Beppu Bay, and basically like half the city here is all on the coast. You can't see it here because we're not in 3D mode, but actually this city, if we look, is built completely, how do I rotate? On a mountainside here. It's built vertically up the mountain, all the way up here, and it makes for like a very cool experience for when you're trying to walk through the city, except for the fact that you do have to walk uphill sometimes. So I stayed in Japan, specifically Beppu, because I was staying in an international university. It's actually kind of funny. This town is relatively like a rather like small-ish kind of out of the way kind of town compared to a lot of other Japanese cities, and so it's really interesting the fact that they built an international university here, but I will say that it has made the city pretty lively. There's a large amount of international population in the city because of this. It's funny because I actually already see here on the map where I lived. I can see it right now. I'm gonna give you guys a chance to take a guess on where you think it might be. The only reason that I know this is where I used to live is because of this right here. This right here is an elementary school, and this is a big ass dirt soccer field, and I happen to live in this 11-story building right here. You can't tell it's an 11-story building, but you'll have to trust me here. It's like a 11-story building. This building is supposed to be hurricane, tsunami, earthquake proof, all of the above, which I would hope so, seeing as it's right in the freaking bay. The building here was essentially an apartment complex for the international university, housing mainly international students. It's funny because the university itself is actually way over here on the mountain, but we'll go look at that in a second. So most of the dorm rooms are up there on the mountain, but if you wanted to and you had the option to, you could live here, which is where I lived, in the international dorms, which is basically just an apartment complex. It's like 9-10 stories tall. It's got this U-like structure that you see here in the middle. It's just like a hollow garden. So you basically, there's like rooms all the way along here. On the back here is like a big communal kitchen. There's rooms all the way along here, and then over here is like a communal living room. And this is basically the exact same on every single floor except for the first floor. The first floor having a smoking room because Japan is still stuck in the 90s. Yeah, this is where I lived. You can see that I had a pretty dope ass view. There's some mountains over here which were really cool, and I could look out from my apartment, which was I already lost it, which was over here on this backside here, and I could look out into the bay, into the water, which was freaking epic. Let me tell you, it was so surreal and epic because I came from a landlocked state in America, so being next and living to ocean is absolutely crazy. Also, this building right here was an onsen, a bathhouse. It was pretty cheap too. It was like $5, I think. I had an outdoor portion, which was basically like a swimming pool. One insides were gender split, and that was like traditional naked Japanese bathhouse. It was pretty nice, but not the best onsen in this city, but it was a good one and one that I frequented often because it was right outside of my house. So next to my home is this stretch of beach here. It's interesting because apparently I learned this relatively recently. Japan doesn't have a lot of like open stretches of beach for whatever reason. This one was like okay. It's not like the craziest nicest beach ever. It wasn't like super dirty. I spent a lot of time hanging out on this beach because there's also a public park right here, an actually pretty public park that has a bunch of weird kind of like weird art and stuff. Over here, down here, there is like a public workout area, which was pretty cool and I used a lot. And there's a ton of stray cats that live in this park that I became very good friends with. Somewhere over here is a 7-Eleven. I can't remember where it is. It's somewhere right here. I think it's right here. I think this is the 7-Eleven. This building right here. I could be wrong. It's somewhere down along here. It's not that far of a walk. I walk to the 7-Eleven all the freaking time. It's really good because Japanese 7-Eleven is dope. Okay, so as I said, the city is built on the side of the mountain, so the city naturally progresses upward. It doesn't really look like that, but you can kind of see it more here. These are all mountains basically that surround this city. It's kind of wild. The city's like almost like in a bowl, like an upward sloping bowl. They have to deal with like tsunamis and stuff. So we actually had a major earthquake when I was there in the spring of 2016. It was really bad. I think it was in Fukuoka, but I don't remember. But the aftershocks of the earthquake were really bad. We had to be evacuated, actually. They evacuated us up to, I believe it was here, the elementary school arena. We basically evacuated all the way up here. It was like at like midnight, 11 p.m. We had to go all the way up, all of us from down here that lived in this area. I spent a lot of time in this park just thinking and just vibing out in Japan because it was freaking gorgeous. Bunch of cute like sakura, a bunch of really cool picture places. We had picnics up here. It was pretty cool. Throughout the city, like I said, it's an onsen city, so there's a bunch of onsens, natural hot springs. Some of them are like sightseeing things, ones where you're not supposed to publicly bathe in them because they have like crazy sulfur and they look wild. I'll show you some pictures on screen now. It's pretty cool. The one downside that you don't expect is the smell, obviously, because it's a hot spring, so it's gonna smell like rotten eggs to a degree. Honestly, I got used to this relatively pretty quick, like maybe within a week, but it still does bother a lot of people, and I can totally see why some people wouldn't be used to that and wouldn't want to live there. So as I said, the university that I attended is all the way like up here on the mountain. We would basically take this road like all the way down here and would go all the way down the coast. It basically like if I remember correctly, all the way down to this road right here, past the Methodist Church, which is weirdly in Japan, up this mountain road. Now you can't tell, but this is vertical. This is going up. We are winding. We go winding up these kind of sketchy mountain roads to where we get to my university all the way up here. You can see that the mountain goes even higher, especially over here. But where this was, we actually looked down into the city, and it's hard to tell from here, but it's pretty high. You could see all of these, like, look at these, like, homes and stuff all built here on the side of the mountain. This is all, like, vertical, like, all going up. You can really see it here. And yeah, basically, I would take this 30-minute bus ride to school, like, every morning. It might have been 40. I don't even remember. Most of that time is the stop. I mean, it's a pretty decent ways away, but then you have to stop at all the, the stops. It's a bus station on the way there, and that takes a while. So we would have to take, like, 40-minute bus ride to university every morning, but man, was it worth it. It was kind of cool. You like got off the bus here and then you walk in. I remember after the earthquake, a lot of this right here, all of this like brick and stuff that leads up to this kind of middle like fountain here was cracked because of the earthquake. It was crazy. I remember the earthquake was like the aftershocks that we felt were pretty bad. There was a lot of damage. I remember I was in a karaoke parlor with my friends. We were actually like getting ready to leave. We were in like the lobby. It was on the second floor of this office building, and the earthquake happened. And it was scary as shit. Some of like the ceiling kind of cracked. It had that like classic kind of like tile ceiling. You know what I'm talking about. And yeah, some of it like cracked, it came in, shit came down from the ceiling. We were panicking, running, we ran our ass out of there. There was like 9 of us. We didn't know what the heck to do. I love this little city, man. I got told when I first was going there that it was going to be kind of like a backwater city, but I did not have that experience at all. It's a pretty big international city because of the university. There's a bunch of bars and all sorts of clubs. There was this club that we would go to. There's probably like no way I can find it, but I'll try. There was a bunch, but there was one that we would go to that was owned by international people who graduated from the international university. I think they were Uzbeki. I can't remember exactly though. And it was popping, man. There was so many spots that were popping. Overall, great experience. People were super friendly. The nightlife was super solid. Public transport is A+. Japan knows what the fuck is up. Actually, down over here, now that I remember, there's this really cool aquarium museum right here. And then literally across from it right here is this place that was referred to and explained to me as Monkey Mountain. It says it right there. Natural setting for viewing monkeys. Me and some of my friends did this like maybe the third day that we were there. We just took the bus right down here, went over and saw this museum, walked across this bridge, and then walked up this little side of the mountain here and went and saw these monkeys. And boy, were they cute. As well, like I said, the public transport's so good, especially the high-speed rail and the train. So we would take, trips over to like Fukuoka, like right over here. And if I remember correctly, it was like a 40-minute, maybe like train ride. I can't even remember, 30, 40 minutes. It was not far. Fukuoka's a beautiful city. Absolutely love it. Bangin' ramen, bunch of really cool places, great nightlife. There's this really cool park that's kind of like iconic to the city, at least in my opinion, that I really, really love. A bunch of the park is like on these islands, like in the middle of this lake. It's really, really cool. You can walk around the lake. Really awesome time. Definitely recommend going to Fukuoka. God, I miss my little onsen town, man. My little hot spring town. It was just so quiet. I just felt like I could get away from everything when I was there. I had an amazing group of friends and people that I met, people that are like very much my friend for life. In hindsight, I really wish I kind of would have sent it like Chris Broad style and just stayed and taught English and all that jazz until I ran out of money and was forced to come home. But it is what it is. Japan holds a very special place in my heart. It's a very cool and epic country. So many people, when they think about like going to Japan, do it for like all the weeb culture stuff. They want to go to Tokyo. They want to do, all the weeb things, go to Akihabara, go buy some figures, look at some anime merch. You know what it is. Go to like Universal Studios, Japan. But really one of my favorite things about Japan was just exploring these smaller towns, these smaller cities, the countryside. It's a very walkable place. The public transport's very good. It's very easy to get around Japan. Overall, I was really lucky and really blessed to be able to spend so much time in Japan and get to spend, some time in Tokyo, some time in Osaka, even got to go and hang out in Seoul for a week. These are memories that I'm like holding on to for forever because they're really peaceful. They mean a lot to me, and I can't wait for the day that I will go back to Japan. I will go back to my little home city of Beppu and see it once again, and hopefully maybe I'll even record it for you guys. As always, if you enjoyed the video, learned something new, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. If you've been to Japan and lived in Japan, let me know the areas that you visited and what you liked about it in the comment section down below. If you want to see more content, click one of the videos on screen now. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next one. Drink your water, hug your mother. Until next time, peace, love.